Hello, everyone. We got Ben Walford here, a personal branding expert within the property space. And we brought him in today to give us an insight into the benefits of using personal branding. We're going to basically pick Ben's brain today. How does that sound? So, Ben, welcome.
Thank you for having me here. Really, really appreciate it.
So, Ben, would you mind giving us a brief introduction of yourself uh, so we know
Yeah,
your
sure.
background and what you're all
Yeah,
about?
yeah, sure. So I'm Ben Walford. For those of you that don't know me, Ben Walford, I'm the #1 property personal branding coach. I help property investors, sources, managers, and mentors grow their personal brand, position themselves as go-to leading authorities and experts in their field, and ultimately attract the people that they look to work with the most in property. So if you're a sourcer, then obviously you'd want more investors. If you are a mentor, you'd want more clients. And of course, if you're a manager, then you'd want to be attracting more landlords to get more deals across the line to expand your portfolio. So ultimately, I help my clients take their growth and their success to the next level in property.
Excellent. So the space I'm in is I'm an agency helping chiropractors grow their clinic by becoming the obvious local choice and growing the business by acquiring more leads, optimizing the what do you call it? My brain is just going 27 degrees melt. Optimizing the conversion rate and maximizing the lifetime value per patient. So
Brilliant.
tell us a little bit, first of all, so we put a frame around it. How do you define personal branding? Because there's different opinions about what personal branding really is. So let's start.
Yeah, this is probably one of the most common questions that people always ask, not because it's cliche, but because I think everyone's got their own thoughts and opinions on what a personal brand is.
Absolutely.
But personally, to me, it's becoming known for who you are, the values you stand for, the value that you hold within you, the knowledge that you can share, the education, the inspiration, the motivation, everything that you can share to other people. People understanding who you are, what you do, and how you can help them as an individual.
Yeah.
And helping people, not just saying, every company, if you went onto any company website, right? If, for example, chiropractors, if you went onto every single chiropractor's website, pretty much going to be the same bio. You could literally copy and paste the bios and it'd be exactly the same. Whereas with a personal brand, you can't have the same person.
Yeah.
And also, a person is me and you. We're human beings, right? We're emotional beings. A company can never be an emotional being. So you can never have a real emotional relationship with a company because it's not an emotional being. So how could you ever have an emotional relationship?
It's a very good point. One that I hadn't heard before was a good one. So yeah, and also the difference, right, of hiding behind the brand, where it becomes a bit
Mm.
impersonal, and obviously there's no connection really. It's good for branding purposes, obviously, but then it also has a lot of downsides because not having that personal connection, it makes that relationship a lot weaker, doesn't it? So you have to really do,
Yeah.
work even harder. I always think that if you do very, very good, you should always do your best, obviously, but if you do really good customer service and you have that strong relationship, then people are much more forgiven, than if you,
Yeah, it's very true. I believe here's where I believe personal branding will help everyone. And my coaching, and you picked up on this straight away when you messaged me, I was like, yes, he knows straight away. And I think someone that is in a similar niche, similar industry, someone that's helping someone get more clients through new methods of marketing,
yeah,
or I would say, I wouldn't even say they're new, I'd just say more modern ways, as some people might view them, then I think that you see it. Okay, you can literally take all the lessons that I teach and apply it to any business. So yes, I chose property, I chose that niche, but you could all it is about getting new clients. So it's about learning who you are, the value that you hold, who you are, what you do, how you can help that individual, right? What it is you specialize in, how you can help that individual. That's the same throughout any business. I just chose property as a niche, but if you take any of the value out of this interview, anything from my free content, I know that you downloaded a free PDF of mine. You can literally take all of that and apply it to any niche. And I promise you, as long as, I always say this as well, it's a winning recipe.
Yeah.
But in order for a recipe to work, you've got to apply every ingredient. So as long as you apply every ingredient, you will have the result. You'll get the result that you're looking for.
Excellent. I think one of the things, obviously, I picked up on right away that I really liked is the positioning statement. So that's one of the 10 steps in the branding guide, personal branding guide you created, and that I downloaded and read, is having that positioning statement, right? So it's not like, oh, I generate leads for businesses. Well, be a bit more specific, you know. What exactly, who is that for? You know, who is that client? You know, is it everybody? It can be, surely it can be everyone. So you narrow that down very, very precisely. Now, even in the space of property, because a lot of people might think, well, property, I mean, surely property is property, but again, there's a lot of niches and sub-niches within property. So do you work with all of those yourself, Ben?
No, you're right. You're right. You know, there's niches within niches, I like to say. You're so right. And in some cases, yes. And in some cases, no.
Right.
I think for me, other people could.
Yeah.
Other people could. So my clients niche within a niche. So if a mentor in property approaches me, then I'll say, pick a strategy. Because you won't get coached by me unless you're a specialist. You don't have to come to me as a specialist, but you will become a specialist. I promise you, by the time you start working with me or finish working with me, you will become known for one specific thing. Okay. And I just don't see this. I don't see the value in a generalist. No one does. No. We just don't think about it. You know, I always use this as when I actually used it in the PDF. Who would you call if your roof collapsed? Would you call a roofer or would you call the local handyman? You're obviously going to call the roofer. He's a specialist at what he does. He literally eats, sleeps and breathes roofing. It's all he's educated himself on. It's what he specializes in. He's an expert in his field. But hold on a minute. We're going to pay this guy more. So why are we still going with him? Because the level of trust is there. We know that we're going to pay more, but we're going to get a better service. So when you're a specialist, you can charge more, you're going to get a higher quality client, and you're going to be respected more in the field of, you know, whatever field you specialize in. For me, I don't personally niche within the niche because I think that I'm already very niched for what I do anyway, but my clients do. So there's several different strategies in property, like you said. Yeah. For example, just to give you an example of some very common ones, rent to rent, service accommodation. You know, I literally just came off a call with a client. He said, look, I've done management, I've done buy-to-let, I've done this. And I'm just thinking, and he wants to become a mentor. And he's thinking, I can't teach them all. I said, no, pick one. We're picking one. What is it that you do most frequent? What is it you're most passionate about? What is it that inserts energy into you when you talk about it? You know, what is it that you're driven and focused on and really specialize in or have done the most of? And he said service accommodation or management, really. And I said, well, management is a niche. Okay, it doesn't have to be service accommodation or rent to rent. It could be management, and then you've got those as you've got management as the umbrella, and then you've got these different you've got service accommodation and rent to rent, where in other cases, you might go, your speciality is rent to rent. Your speciality is service accommodation. That's what to focus on. Become an expert in your field and become known as that person. For me, personal branding, if you typed in personal branding coach Google, there's pretty much zero personal branding coaches in the whole of business. There's very, very few that are doing it correctly and actually know what they're talking about. There's very few anyway. So in the whole of business, there's not many.
Yeah.
because people incorporate it. I was talking about this the other day. People incorporate it in what they do.
Yeah.
So let's say if I was a coach and I wanted to help coaches get more clients, I might say, okay, here's how you build a funnel. Here's how you create online courses. Here's how you do this. Here's how you get clients through the door. And then an element of that might be personal branding.
Yes.
And that's very much what a lot of people are doing. They're incorporating it into their courses, into their education, but it's not full. The whole thing is about personal branding. They're just incorporating it. So there's not,
what you mean. It's a
yeah,
little,
so there's not many personal brand coaches out there as a statement,
yeah.
but they do incorporate it. So for me to niche where there's not many people anyway, and then niche it even further just to property, where majority of people had never heard of it until I said it. Yeah, I don't feel as if me niching within that niche, I think that'd be a bit too far.
No, for sure.
You know what I
I
mean?
think also what you've done there is you kind of carved out already almost the category, that you have claimed the whole category, isn't it? Because I have never heard of anybody else that is doing what you're doing in the UK. And I've been to a lot of property events and a lot of networking groups. So clearly, obviously, that is a strategy, if you like, in itself, isn't it?
100%.
Yeah.
How do you think I became the number one? Because there is no other. I'm the number one. I am great at what I do, and that's not me bragging. I just know I am really, really good at what I do. But I thought, is it too ballsy to call myself the number one? And then I thought, well, there's no one here, is there? So I might as well.
So,
The number one and the only one.
what would you say to somebody now who's starting out and they may have a successful chiropractic clinic? Obviously, they got a lot of expertise already. It's all in there. We'll talk about a few hurdles that there are in the industry, but how would you advise that person to get started with personal branding?
So you got a chiropractor business owner.
Yeah. So somebody
Yeah.
has, there's a couple of levels. Obviously, somebody could be working as an associate or an employee for a chiropractic clinic. And then the next step from that is you set up your own clinic.
Okay, cool. So let's take the first scenario first. They're an employee or a director or, some sort of...
Yeah, they're an associate. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, they're an associate of it, right? So personally, I would say understand who you're talking to first. So why are you a chiropractor for who are you a chiropractor for?
Yeah.
Understand who you are. Before that, understand who you are as a brand. Become self-aware of who you are, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are. Understand the experiences. I'm talking not just in chiropractic, just as a whole, your experience in the whole of life, the ups, the downs that you've had, everything that's created you into who you are now. Really understand who you are. Because if you don't know who you are, you can't expect anyone else to want to get to know who you are. Once you've understood that and you've become self-aware of what it is you have to offer, not just service-wise, but have to offer as in the value, the values you stand for, but the value that you can actually provide, the knowledge, the experiences, how you can tell your story, who's going to relate to that story, and understand. Then once you understand who you are, then you want to be thinking, who are you talking to? Now, who is it that you're talking to? Because as a chiropractor, I could literally just go out there and say to everyone, hey, I don't know if I've got this right, but hey, is your back hurting? If it is, then jump straight in. And it's like, yeah, you've got such a broad audience. You're just hoping. You're just hoping and wishing that someone that is hurting right now or has a pain needs a relief. Where if you niche down and find a specific area, you can be targeting them whereas the other chiropractors are going to have to spend high volume of money to, especially let's say if we're going off Facebook ads, you're going to have to spend a high volume of money to get to sieve out who these people are that need your service. Whereas if you just tackle one niche, why wouldn't you tackle property? Chiropractor for property investors and professionals.
Yeah.
If I was a property investor looking at that, I'd be thinking, well, I'd much rather go there.
Yeah.
Because I've got more in common with it. You need to be tapping into understanding who you're talking to, what their pain points are, what their goals are, not just to fix their pain of the back, but also to help them see that when they fix that, their ability to go out there and achieve their goals is much easier. Okay, that you're giving them back the ability. It's not just a physical pain, it's what that physical pain is doing throughout their life, throughout their business. Okay, so you've got to understand that if you know who you're talking to, let's say we're focusing on someone in property, let's say we're focusing at property professionals, chiropractor for property professionals. Okay, well, that person can't go out and do viewings if he's got about, how many viewings can he do if he's got a bad back? How many properties he might be able to view, one or two, but he can't be walking up and down stairs all the time.
Yeah.
How is he going to drive from A to B? So it's not just the pain physically, it's you enabling them, removing that pain and enabling them to go out and achieve their goals so they can get more done, they can achieve more in their business, and they can grow. So you've got to be talking about growth. Growth is so important. That's what everyone wants. We all want to grow in some sort of way. We want to grow our income. We want to grow our happiness. We want to grow our success. So you need to be speaking about growth and how you can help someone create growth. So if you can take away that pain, then you've got a very, very high chance of that person coming to you rather than anybody else. And you can specifically tailor your message. But you've got to think of your avatar as one person. Everyone thinks of, right, we need to tackle lots of these people that we can help. Yeah, just think of one person. Think of who that person is. Think about whether it's male or female. Do you want to focus? Maybe you want to go down the male route. A lot of chiropractors I know specialize in the sports area. Why? Because the sports area is where people have the most injuries, so they know that they're like cashing in, right? But it's not. It's literally, my brother was talking to me on voice notes on WhatsApp, and it's as stupid as it sounds. He went to squat a fly with his hand, and he smashed his hand on the wall, and then his finger was like this.
Wow.
Right. So it's accidents like that happen every day, and these are sporting professionals. So really it's backwards, because if you're aiming at sporting professionals, yes, they train every day, but hey, look, they know the danger. So they're actually being more careful to not have an injury. So you're actually going to have more chance of other people just having freak accidents than you are of them. So I think personally, you just got to know who you're talking to. Don't just aim at a niche because you think it's going to be profitable and easy. Aim at an individual and think, what's their pain points? Where are they in life? Where are they in their business? Where do they want to be? Okay, so where they are, where they want to be, and you're in between, you're literally taking them from where they are now to where they want to be. Yeah. And that's not just removing physical pain, it's literally helping them achieve their goal.
Yeah, the outcome.
So, the outcome, the bigger picture, yeah.
Rather than the specific, the feature, if you like.
Yeah, and nailing that person down as that individual as well, their age range, where do they hang out? What is their pain point? Really, I break down that with my clients so much. We work sometimes a full 2-hour session on pain points and goals because it's so important. Yeah. Just think, if I didn't know who you are and I'm just saying, hey, I'm Ben, I run the best chiropractor in town, you should come if you've got a pain in your back. Or if I say, hey, are you a property professional that at the minute is struggling to go to viewings, struggling to progress in your business because you've got this pain in your back that just continues to worsen and worsen and worsen? You're thinking that you need to go to someone But right now, you just want to continue working. You don't want to be held back from achieving your goals in property. Well, if that is you, I just want to let you know that you can come down here. We can have a look at, you can have a quick consultation for free. If you click this ad right now, you've got a half an hour consultation with us for free. Would love to, check you over, see what the problem is. And then from there, if we can solve the problem, we'll tell you. If we can't, obviously we won't be able to work together. But if we can, we always aim to be able to get you back out there so you can focus on achieving your property goals.
Yeah.
And achieving them in a much quicker timescale. So much more tailored.
Well, the person is going to say, he's talking to me,
Yeah, exactly
talking
that.
directly to me,
Be like, whoa, that is me,
How did you know?
Yeah, you need to also lace this with emotion, because people buy with 95% emotion and 5% logic.
Yeah. Agitate the pain a little bit.
Yeah. Do you feel frustrated that right now you're being held back from achieving your goals? How does it make them feel? That's something you've got to tap into. How does it make them feel? Do you feel frustrated? And you could even, this would impress me if someone came close to the camera and went, does it make you feel a bit pissed off that you can't go out? I'd be like, what? How is that happening? That would impress me. That is creative. I appreciate being sold to. I do.
Yeah.
When someone comes out with a great piece of marketing, I really appreciate it. If someone came to the camera like that, and I was just be thinking, wow, I have to go here, just because they're so good at what they do. If they're that good at marketing, then they are at chiropractor. I'm going to stay with these for life.
Yeah.
Imagine
that.
Yeah. And then just saying, look, if you are frustrated and a bit annoyed that obviously we've got this situation, but you're also being held back by that pain that you've not had seen to yet, then jump in. Let's have a free half-an-hour consultation. Let me get to know you. You get to know me. And we'll see what we can do about it and get you back on the road achieving those property goals so you can create that legacy for your family.
Yeah. And also understanding, if you understand a little bit about the industry, then you know how many viewings need to be taking place for a deal to go through, for money to be made. So if you know that person is doing half of the viewings they should be doing, you know that their business is at 50% capacity.
Exactly.
You don't have to spell that out, but knowing that puts you in a position of tremendous power when you have that conversation, because you can call BS. Basically, if a person says, oh, this is that, and you can really help them, that this is costing you, this is costing you serious money.
Common sense isn't common. That's the thing.
Oh, yeah.
Common sense isn't common. And a lot of it comes down to common sense. How would it make someone feel?
Yeah.
How would it make someone? Here's what you got to think about. How do they feel and how do they want to feel?
Yeah.
Or how do they feel and how would they feel? So how do they feel that they're in this current situation, and how would they feel if they weren't?
If they weren't. So a bit of future pacing in terms of when you have that conversation with them. So
exactly.
Obviously, one of the things we look at first and foremost with branding in chiropractic is making sure that you are obviously standing out, because if somebody has a pain, then there are, there's a lot of competitors out there, like a myriad, but we can sort of boil them down to three things. It's either somebody doing nothing, that's always an option, finding an alternative therapy that is not chiropractic, and that could be acupuncture, Thai massage, you name it, or another chiropractor. So that's okay, I'm going to go for a chiropractor, but it could be another chiropractor. So obviously, with the messaging, you've got to make sure that you're not only positioning yourself as the solution to that pain, but also, help somebody take action who would otherwise not have taken action, inspiring them to take action. And also, once they get to the point that they can see that chiropractic is a thing, that you are, again, setting yourself aside from other chiropractors that they could be, choosing from, so that you are uniquely positioned to help them. And as you said earlier, if you do your targeting and positioning more carefully, you know your value, you understand your speciality, if you like, where you are different from someone else, whether that be the integration of trigger point release therapy, or maybe you're using some dry needling, or you're doing some functional exercise regimes alongside the chiropractic to help them get back into competitive sporting, then those are the things, those are the, you know, things you got to look at to really come to a succinct and you know, authentic positioning statement that tells the story of what you do and, you know, how you can help that person really.
100% as well. And I don't think it should all just be about selling. You have to deliver value, powerful value. Show your value before you sell.
Yeah.
So just literally connect with the right people, understand who that person is, and connect with lots of those individuals. Then put out content that helps them.
Yeah.
Just put out content that helps them, that they can do at home. Because yeah, they're going to do it at home, but then eventually they're going to say, well, actually, I'd like to go in and see that person. They obviously know what they're doing, and what they've told me so far, I've actually been able to implement at home, and it's really helped.
Yeah.
That way you're going to gain a following, become known for what you do and how you can help people, what it is you specialize in. But also, when they would want someone to do it for them, who do you think the first person they're going to come to is?
Yeah. The person,
You know,
who really helped them up front.
yeah. And also, if you're speaking to them, not at them, this is key. Pretty much the same point.
Yeah.
You're not speaking at them. You're saying, hey, do you need, do you need a chiropractor? Have you got a bad back? Have you got this? Have you got an injury? If that's speaking at them,
Right.
speak to them, speak their language,
Yeah.
you know, talk to them. And what's going to happen is, when you can tell your story, maybe you've got a story of how you went through a similar experience of hurting yourself in some way, and you told that story of how it felt when you were in that position, how it felt when you were out of action. You know, some things that pass for you, because it can mess with you mentally as well. It can really test your mental health. When you're out of action, you can't move. I know that me being stuck in the house, I've just been wanting to get out all the time. So I'm very much not necessarily an outdoors person, but I'm always on the go. So just being stuck in a house for so long, I need to get out, you know. So it can really have an impact on your mental health. So you need to be talking about that. You need to be saying how it impacted you. Maybe if you tell a story from kind of what happened to you, where you were, where you are now, and how they can do the same. Now, because then you're inspiring them, you're educating them, but you're also adding that element of emotion, where this is where I was, this is how it felt, this is where I am, this is how it feels, and this is how you can do the same.
Now, a little bit of that may already be available. Somebody has an existing clinic. If they go to their Google reviews or Facebook endorsements, they can actually pick out some of those pain point conversations and statements that people are making, right? They could look for some common threads amongst those and see what, you know, what those people have read, have written, I mean, and, you know, what they were saying. And as you say, that descriptive, emotional language, isn't it? That actually, you know,
100%.
a bit of the expression of the anguish they were in before they got there. And there's little details, isn't it? Little things they couldn't do, you know, they couldn't do the school runs, or they couldn't attend certain things anymore. They had to stop a certain hobby they had because of this. And that's all in the details of those reviews. Now, if they don't have reviews at the moment, so somebody who's starting out, have you got some recommendations for them in terms of getting in touch with that avatar and really making
100%.
that fictitious person more real by basing the information on research and evidence rather than just top of the head?
100%. In fact, to be fair, I wasn't even considering reviews at that point. I would literally understand who you are, who you're talking to, know what it is you specialize in, okay, know what it is you want to become known for, know who it is you want to talk to, who that individual is that we spoke about earlier.
Yeah.
Find out where those people are, connect with them, and put out free content, put out value that helps them, educates them, inspires them, motivates them, and also has that element of emotion as well. It doesn't have to be a patient that was here and now they're here and this is how they did it. It can be you. the biggest thing when someone goes to see a chiropractor, or even if it's a completely different niche, what's the biggest thing when someone sees a counselor? Or so, you know, the biggest thing is, well, you don't know the pain I'm going through. Well, I do, because let me tell you my story.
Yeah.
I wasn't always a chiropractor. Okay. I wasn't always here. This is how it started. So actually, I was in an injury myself. And I felt like no one could feel my pain right now, both mentally and physically. But that, you know, but they could.
That's a great one.
They,
I mean, the
you
personal
know,
stories is a,
yeah, bring your personal experience, and that's what I'm saying. You forget about chiropractic. Forget about chiropractic for a minute. Talk about your life experience. You know, I know how I do know how you feel because it happened to me. I wasn't always a chiropractor. But what do you think inspired me to help other people in the same position? Because I went through the same story as you're going through right now, and it inspired me to help other people because I felt like I was on my own.
and obviously, if you have helped people in the past, then these are some of the things you should be paying attention to. So you should be a good listener and really absorbing, you know, seeing those discussions of sharing the pain points and the emotions as gifts, because what they're doing is they're giving you, you know, marketing material that's priceless, really. Because if they're going
1,000%.
through that, somebody else is gonna go through the same thing, you know, through very similar experiences, and the wording that they use is going to be very valuable, you know, to model and repurpose, obviously, in other areas.
1,000%. And you've seriously, I wouldn't even, for me, I didn't post any review. I've been doing this 4 years and I didn't post any reviews until like actual reviews, like Facebook page reviews or anything like that. I didn't post any until last week.
Wow.
So it's honestly, and I've had hundreds of clients.
Yeah.
So it's about, and the only reason I can get away with not doing that, and the only reason I have got away with not putting lots of reviews up, obviously people ask for them privately and I can send it to them, but that isn't the reason why people want to work with me. They've not checked my reviews and said, hey, I want to work with you now. It's not about that. It's about them being emotionally connected with me, knowing that I can help them. So the content that you put out, because you're telling the story, you're not just telling the story and promoting yourself and what you can do for them. You're allowing them to build an emotional connection with you. Once an emotional connection is built and a bond, it can't be broken.
Yeah.
They'll want to work with you regardless of whether or not someone else is better.
Obviously, video testimonials can be a very powerful way as well of getting people to tell the story, right?
100%. But let's just say that no one has ever had a customer.
Yeah.
Then you've got to think of innovative ways. And the best thing to do is to grow your personal brand and allow people to connect with you emotionally, formulate their own idea of who you are.
Yeah.
And that's through you being your authentic self, but also sharing the value and the knowledge that you can provide to them and help them with. So what's going to happen then is once they've built that emotional connection, you don't need you don't need the reviews. The reviews help because it's kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, I've done my due diligence now, and yeah, these people are happy, so yeah, happy. But when you're starting out, you don't have that choice. So yeah, even get a couple of clients in for free if if you're going to get some testimonials out of it. Maybe mixture the two together, but the biggest thing that's going to be the most powerful is by building emotional connections with people.
Yeah. And obviously, chiropractic is a very much a profession where there's a very high level of trust. Obviously implicit, because, you know, to let somebody manipulate, say, your neck or your spine, has to be a very high level of trust. So that's very, very important. So in terms of, and this is an interesting point you made me think about as well, is that, so I get this a lot with clients and they're like, well, where should I start? What should I do? Like, they have like a complete, you know, mental block in terms of content creation, you know. And I can run them off, like literally list, there's thousands of ideas. But obviously it's about them realizing that they're already, everything they need is already inside of them. Now, although they all been to the same universities, everybody explains things in a completely unique way. So just explaining what they do, explaining, you know, what chiropractic is, how they work, how they do, you know, in intake, how a consultation works, some of the results that people can expect or not expect, and what they do, and also things that they don't do, what chiropractic is not. If you start with those very simple ones already, then you go a long way. Just because not everybody is explaining those things, they take them for granted. They think, well, this is everybody knows that. Well, yeah, everybody's been to University of Chiropractic knows that. But you pick up somebody on the street and they have no clue.
A guy that works with me called Lewis, he says he uses this example with his clients. So he says where you are right now is stood on a mountain of value.
Yeah.
But you're looking out to all the other mountains and you're on top of all of the value. You're not looking down. So you're always thinking that you have no value to share because you're just looking up in the sky because there's nothing there. But if you actually look down, you actually stood on top of a mountain of value that you're not even realizing you're still on top of.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. There's a lot of things that people learn along the way, and little examples and exercises and tweaks and stretches and little nuggets of information that are so unique and crisp and exciting, that if they can tap back into that excitement they had when they were going to uni, where they're like, oh, look what I learned today. And sometimes they forget about that because obviously, as they get better at it, they forget about those initial aha moments and discoveries they made. And literally, I mean, there's no limit of content that you can produce within chiropractic because they know so much about the body. You could pick up, you could approach the topics from so many different angles and still, produce a new piece of content every day if you wanted.
Yeah, 100%. Is literally unlimited. Because let's say you spoke about one particular bone. Yeah, how many things could you speak about that one particular bone, and how many bones is there in the body? And then so there's just literally, it goes on forever.
Yeah. Now, obviously, it is good to create some structure as well sometimes. So if you are looking to put out a series of personal branding videos, have you perhaps got some? I mean, in your case, Ben, obviously you got a framework already. You got the 10 steps towards personal branding success. And now you could arguably take each piece of that, each one of those steps, and you could break that out into several pieces of content if you wanted to, by just repurposing that one idea and then approaching it by, you could spend a week or a month if you wanted on just one step, right? For somebody then who's starting out, or who has been running but they haven't really thought about content creation, because a little bit chiropractic is a little bit commoditized, which is sometimes to the detriment of the industry, obviously, because they are adding less value than they could, and obviously leaving money on the table for that reason. How would you have you got any advice for chiropractors wanting to put a bit of structure in it, so they say, okay, how do I go about maybe structuring that personal branding content?
Do you mean per video, or do you mean just as a structure as a whole?
Well, I was thinking the structure as a whole, and then maybe some tips as well in terms of per video, or
Yeah, for me, I like to diversify my content.
Yeah.
I like to diversify. I have short snippet, powerful, attention-grabbing content, which is like a minute or two long. I do live videos, but each one's got a purpose.
Yeah.
So it's about understanding what result you want from the content you're putting out. If you're putting out a live, it's very raw. It's very raw. It's very open. It's very transparent. You can share emotion. It's great for telling your story because you can't hide away from the emotion, and people can really connect to it.
Yeah.
I think it also makes you more human. But there's a purpose for every single one. Pre-recorded is a bit more of a perfected, more professional video. A little bit more time and effort has gone into it. So there's a purpose for each one.
Yeah.
I just create a weekly schedule. Starting off, if you've never put out content, just a weekly schedule of one piece of content a day from Monday to Sunday. Monday starting with, whether it's picture content, written content, video content. Because there's so much, you can then think, okay, if it's video content, what's it going to be? Okay, and then there's 4 types of 4 types of content. There's motivational, inspirational, educational, and then each one should be laced with emotion. So then you think, right, what is this going to be? You can also put some of those together as well. So it's not, you're not literally just saying, right, I have to have one of these and one of these. You could put them all 4 together, or both, two of them together. So for example, I say, right, it's Monday. I'm going to do a live video. I've picked that form of content.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with video content. I'm going to go with live video Monday. And I think it's going to be motivational and inspirational.
Yeah.
And I'm going to lace it with emotion. Or it's just going to be motivational. Or it's going to be inspirational, educational, and emotional. Here's where I was. Here's where I am. Here's how you can do the same. Here's where I was. Here's how it felt. Here's where I am. Here's how it feels. Here's how you can do the same. So you're telling them how it feels. So you're inspiring them because you're saying, here's where I was. Here's where I am. Inspiring.
Yep.
This is how far I've came. This is how I felt. So emotion. This is how I feel. Emotion again. This is how you can do the same thing. Education.
Yeah.
So you can mix it up. You want to revolve around those 4 types of content and just pick and choose throughout the week. Is it video content? Is it picture content? Is it written? Think of all the different forms of content, all the different types of content within that. So video, there's live, there's short, impact, attention grabbing, there's pre-recorded. Think about what content you want. So I would just say, this is what I want to get across. This is the result I'm looking for. This is what form of content it's going to be. And this is what it's going to be: motivational, inspirational, emotional, etc. And I just create a whole weekly schedule like that.
Brilliant. So
but
here's
diversify it.
That come up a lot with people when they start doing content creation is it's a little bit of the imposter syndrome, but also with chiropractic, if there's one thing that chiropractors are apprehensive about, is not what the public thinks, it's what another chiropractor is going to think about it. So yeah, it's true. So
it's so true. Yeah, I get that.
How would you what is your advice to somebody who's maybe a little bit apprehensive about this, and just to get them started, just to say, hey, just
step 1, remove all chiropractors off your Facebook and off your social medias.
Yeah.
What's the point? It's like a restaurant owner connecting with another restaurant owner and then hoping for more customers. Just be pointless. I know we all want customers for our restaurant, but we'll all meet up. We're restaurant owners, which means you're not going to get any more customers, are you? So
you're
just
not going to share
take
your
off
strategies necessarily, are you, if they're a competitor? So
maybe
if somebody across the country, you don't mind, but if it's somebody in your same locality.
People do it all the time, though. Coaches connect with coaches.
Yeah.
And property investors connect with property investors that are all in the same position. And I just think it's completely nuts. And what happens is you'll get likes, you'll get 50, 60, 100, 200 likes, and you think, oh, I'm doing great. My personal brand is huge. Yeah. With your competition,
and your friends.
Everyone's just giving validation to each other. Like, hey, you're great. Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, no worries. But your business isn't going to, you're not doing any more in your business. You're just getting a few more likes and you feel great because you've got all of these comments, but it's not getting you any results. I'd rather 1 like on my post. Sometimes that's the case. I'm literally not afraid to admit that. Sometimes I get 1 like on my posts. But if that 1 like is just maybe £3,500, I'd much rather that than 50 likes and a bunch of validation in my comment section. Telling me how great I am. Second point.
And it becomes a vanity metric, isn't it? It's completely.
That's it. It's just vanity, yeah.
Yeah.
I've just got the keys to a new property. Woohoo! You're amazing. You just think. But an investor doesn't care about that. A landlord doesn't care that you just got a new keys to a new property. You're literally posting that just for likes and vanity.
Yeah. To boost your ego, basically.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. If it's not going to make you any money, it's not going to push you forward. And if you don't get pushed forward, it means that you can't help anyone. So it's actually a selfish thing that you're doing, because if you're not getting any more clients, you're not helping any more people. And if you're not helping any more people just because you want vanity and you want validation,
you're making less impact than you could be making. You're not making any impact.
There you go. You're not making any impact. You're just being selfish.
Yeah. So Ben, how do you keep the tone and the the tone and the message nice and personal, nice and natural? Like, you're obviously very natural. You've done a lot of videos, clearly, over the years, and that's obviously made it better. I suppose you didn't start out as good as you are now. You must have improved over time, right?
Yeah, I used to be a cardboard cutout. Hi, I'm Ben.
Recorded message, yeah. Yeah. That's so. Do you remember the first ones you did?
Yeah, terrible.
It was a bit like that. I always say it's like the pancake effect. So sometimes you gotta make a few pancakes and chuck them out, give them to the dog or something, before you make a really good one. And with videos, I think it's the same.
I just say put it all out. Put it all out.
Okay. Even the crap.
Literally just put it, even the crap ones, because the crap ones will be the one-hit wonders that will get so much engagement, that will get so much results, and you'll be thinking, baffled, thinking why, how. But do you care if you're getting the result? Do you care? Honestly, majority of things I'm like, that was rubbish. That was my missus has to put up with it all the time. I'm like, I just came off a live and it was a rubbish live and didn't like it, and she's like, Ben, listen to yourself. Don't delete it. Don't you dare delete it. And I'll keep it up, and then the next day I'll get 3 inquiries, and I think that was a terrible live. How has anyone bought into that? But not because I was lying or anything like that. Not because, you're saying shit that isn't true. Just because you just felt in your own confidence that it wasn't as good as it could have been. People but I don't know. It will surprise you. But the ones you don't put out could have been your one-hit wonders that you'll miss out on if you don't put them out. That's
interesting. So, I mean, yeah, obviously that person's going to judge that by the value it brings to them. So although you didn't see any value in it because you get on top of that mountain,
there you go,
looking out, and you're like, this is nothing, I've done much better than this. And that person says, no, that's exactly what I needed to hear today. So I'm going to give Ben a call.
There you go. Yeah, exactly that. You could say one thing. You say one thing and it will just resonate with someone. And that's it. They're getting in touch. It's incredible. So don't throw away your content. It's a lot like how many singers, how many rappers, how many artists do you think are out there that have thrown away one-hit wonders?
Yeah, that's a good point.
That could have been one-hit wonders, but they'll never know. And it'll always have been the one that they didn't expect.
Yeah, I know a friend of mine who is a bestseller author. And
yeah, cool.
One of the books he did was about feng shui. I think I said it right, feng shui. It's about how to rearrange your space for optimal energy and all that. It's a bit, Eastern philosophy. And he researched it. He's not necessarily into it either, but that book, oh boy, it's like being translated. I don't know how many languages. When he turns, it's been translated in another language without him even knowing it. It's like a wildfire. And that's maybe one of the books that he wouldn't have thought so much about. He just did it like he always does his books. He researches it, puts them together, produces it. That's it, done. So it's exactly like you say. If you were to judge them yourself, you would probably never.
Sometimes we focus so much. It's a bit like when we were kids playing computer games. When we're just over concentrated on getting past that level, we could never do it. You had to take a breather and come back. And when you do it and you relax, you don't care anymore. And you go, oh, I don't even care anymore. And then you go, what? How did I just do that? And it's the same, when you're relaxed, you're just in flow state and you just do what you do. You're not forcing it. It will come.
It's a good point, that, because I've noticed with video as well, as soon as you get into the habit of putting out videos, what happens is you get past this, oh, I've got to do a video thing, to, no, let's just get it done. Let's
exactly.
You're not thinking of, how you're going to look, how you're going to sound. You're just like, okay, this is the content I need to get across. Let's do it. Okay, it's done. Boom. Let's put it out. Which is a different mindset, obviously. from
Like consistency and frequency. How frequent do you stay with it?
Yeah.
The more you do, the less you'll even think about it.
Ben, how many platforms do you promote your personal branding on currently? Is it
Predominantly two, but I'm on pretty much every platform,
okay?
but predominantly two. I would say that to anyone. Just focus on 1/2, potentially two, but choose the ones you're most comfortable with. I personally really like Facebook and Instagram. The reason I like Facebook profiles so much, and when I say Facebook, don't have a page for your company, because it's just good for credibility, just to see that you establish that type of thing. But grow your profile, your Facebook profile. Don't create a personal brand page, a Facebook profile, because you have complete control of who follows you, because you're connecting with them.
Yeah.
And then you're accepting their friend request. So it's not like you can get some kid from Indonesia following you on Instagram. Nothing's stopping them from doing that. On Facebook, you can literally connect with your exact avatar. And if you can put across and optimize your profile to the point where they know exactly why you've connected with them, and then you put out content to them, you're literally creating massive amounts of organic business without having to spend a bean on marketing or branding.
So if somebody has an existing page, which, some of us do, we have a personal Facebook page. Should we leave that there and then create another page more, that is purely connected?
Yeah, because if you connect on your profile with the specific people you want to work with, and grow that to 5,000, imagine how many clients you're going to get a week from that alone if you're putting out powerful content.
Yeah.
And not only that, but when it gets to 5,000, you can convert that profile into a page. So now, instantly, I'm talking in 5 or 10 minutes, that profile has now stayed as a profile. So you've still got that powerful platform, and has also turned into a page that's got 5,000 likes and follows on it that aren't garbage followers. They're targeted specifically because you pick them out.
Yeah. Excellent.
So
that will be a fun page, or you'll use a business page for that?
So that would be your personal brand page.
Personal brand page. Is it like a fan page, or is it?
Yeah. Like that, yeah.
Fan page, okay. Cool.
Yeah, like a public figure fan page.
Yes. Excellent. Ben, have you got any questions you can think of that I haven't asked but that I should have asked?
That's a good question. How much is your coaching?
Well, that's one of the things I will ask you.
I'm joking.
That's definitely one that I'm
going to... No, I'm joking. Definitely didn't expect you to ask that question. I was just being cheeky there. Let me think. A question that you haven't asked that you should have asked. I think you've asked some great questions, and I think this is going to be really, really valuable for anyone listening to it. Yeah, I don't think that there's anything that I feel you should have asked that you haven't asked. Maybe there is more questions, of course, that we could have covered, but I think we've covered a lot in a short space of time. And I think it's a lot of information for someone to take in anyway. But what I would say is just coming towards the end of it, I just say, be yourself. Try not to find your own voice, be authentic.
Yeah.
People like you will like you.
Yeah. And it's good that you have to polarize a little bit. So you don't want everybody to like you, because you don't want to work with somebody who is a little bit iffy about you. You want to work with people that are, they're into you, get you, they resonate.
Exactly. And the people you work with is a reflection of who you are. So have a think of who your current clients are, and think, what state of mind were you in, or what content were you putting out there to attract that type of client? If it's bad or good.
That's a good one. So Ben, thank you so much for your time today. Can you please let the viewers know how they can get in touch with you if they want to use your coaching services?
You can literally just search me on Facebook, Instagram. Predominantly, if you want to get hold of me, Facebook, search me, Ben Walford.
Ben Walford.
BENNWALFORD. Alternatively, you can go to benwalford.com.
Okay, very good.
You go to benwalfordcoaching.com, which is 2 different websites.
Yeah.
2 different trainings. the Ben Walford coach, benwalford.com will help you learn a bit more about me. Yeah, so, you know, check out the free content. I literally just put out lots of free content, as you know, all of the time.
Yep.
So connect with me on Facebook. Love to have a chat. If I can help you in any way, drop me a message. I'll help you as much as possible for free. And of course, if you are interested in my coaching later on, then that's your choice. But you can make that judgment based off the content.
Brilliant. Ben, thank you so much. Have a lovely rest of the week. All the best to you and your family, obviously. Thank you so much.
And likewise,
for
buddy.
coming on the
Should I
show.
take a quick picture while we're on here?
Yeah,
There
of
we
course.
go.
Let's have a look. Is it a good one?
I think so. Okay, cool.